Okay, got it. We are live, guys. Just, I'm just making sure we are live. Double check that. Yes, yes, indeed. Okay, so let this keep going. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is Sudha Live. For those of you who've been pinging me saying, hey, what's going on? I've switched to a monthly mode. So I used to do this every Friday evening and decided to do it once a month. So I did this in January, and you will get all the links that I'm sharing here and all the information and the recording of this all embedded in my newsletter, which goes out on Sunday. Okay, so it's bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter for those of you who are new or not in the subscription list. So hopefully, that would be a good way to follow up. And I'm streaming this only on YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the YouTube link and share it with you on right away on LinkedIn for those of you who are not able to see this. So that way, let me make sure that you have access to it. Okay. Yeah. And share, sorry, it is going to give me that. Okay. So with you, it's always an echo. Okay, so I'm going to LinkedIn. For those of you who are waiting on LinkedIn, apologies, guys. I need to figure out, I use Restream for my live stream. So I need to figure out what's going on periodically. Restream does not seem to like the LinkedIn streaming option. Something goes wrong. So hopefully I'll get that sorted. So bear with me. So live here, talking, what are we going to talk today? So we're going to talk generative AI, the hot potato topic that everybody is talking about. And there's a whole competition brewing up in tech industry. The beauty of tech industry is tech industry tries to go cannibalize itself and get rid of all its past work to recreate new interesting stuff. And so that's what is happening. But I am a technology futurist. I talk to you, my students, either from Stanford or from Barcelona Tech or Business School of AI. And I want you to think about what you're hearing, all the hype, all the excitement, all the bias and everything that you're hearing about the latest in generative AI. Especially a lot of focus is on ChatGPT and the competition to ChatGPT called Bard that has been announced by Google, but it's not yet available. I don't think there's even a public wait list that I've seen. And so there's a lot of excitement around that. You hear that. I just want you to think about this deeper from everything you've learned in my classes, to think about where's the business model? Where is this really a futuristic technology? Great. What can it do for you? How do you understand the foundations of this? And then how do you do this? How do you analyze this in such a way that you think about whether this is another tech hype or is it here to stay? How do you do that? We're going to talk a little bit about that today. So for those of you who are new, this is Sudha Live. I'm Sudha Jamthe, joining you from Silicon Valley. And this is my hour to talk to you about the latest in analysis in the AI space. And primarily, I will focus this next half hour on AI opportunities. And by opportunities, I'm talking about jobs. Yes, in spite of the many, many unfortunate layoffs, there are jobs, fellowships, grants. This is the time of the year when you find a lot of fellowship grant opportunities. So I'll be sharing some of them. What else? Events, call for papers, all kinds of learning opportunity, because I talk to my students after any class you've taken with me or anywhere else. The best way to, exercise that learning is to keep engaged. And if you're looking for a job, I'm going to be sharing jobs again with the focus on my students typically, So here is the link, jobs, um, opportunities, fellowships, etc. Okay, and here we go. Monthly cadence. I'm just typing this on LinkedIn. So those of you who are watching this from the LinkedIn link, even if you go to YouTube, I would suggest that you add a comment right here on LinkedIn. That is the easiest place for me to come and answer your questions. And many of you would be coming back and looking at this at a later time. So I'll be able to come back and keep track of your questions and answer. And so we have like a whole discussion going on there, right? So that's what we do. Okay. What do you want me to start with? Do you want me to start with ChatGPT and what else is out there? What's going on? Is that would you prefer that, or would you want me to jump straight into jobs and opportunities? This is your hour, so you tell me what you want me to do, and I'm going to do that for you. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I apologize. I'm not tracking YouTube for the comments, so that's not what I'm doing live. So I will be looking at LinkedIn for my live comments. So I want to do something fun. So since I have been, doing this on a monthly cadence now, some of you are new, might not know me. Instead of me repeating, who I am, I just thought, hey, why don't I show you a ChatGPT demo and talk to ChatGPT? So I'm going to share my screen. So here is ChatGPT, and I'm going to say, who is Sudha Jamthe? That's me, Sudha Jamthe. Jane, my name is not silent. And I'm doing this live. I don't have any information. It's a private person. And the last time I did this, it gave me who is Sudha Jamthe. That is so sad. Okay. Then I can't do anything. Can you provide who is this person? So that's the thing, the unpredictability of it, right? The unpredictability of this, that each time it does something. So let me go back and see the previous one. I said, okay, so here's my last time I had a conversation. I said, what is Sudha Live? And it says Sudha Live is a hashtag without any additional context, and I'm unable to data mine. Then I said, what does Sudha live stream cover? And again, it did not know it. I said, what is weekly VED? My weekly series of a speaker series that has been going on for 5 years, and a lot of content is on the internet. It said, no, didn't know it. And then I said, who was Weekly Wednesday? It said, I'm sorry. And then I was like, okay, let me, my vanity went up, and I said, who is Sudha Jamthe? And it said, Sudha Jamthe is a technology executive, author, international speaker. She's known for her work in the field of IoT. I'm blushing as I'm reading because it's saying all these good things. Field of IoT, digital transformation and leadership. She has extensive experience in technology industry and has held executive positions at several companies, noted author, written books, blah, 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 right? Sought after speaker. This is all the stuff. This is what ChatGPT did just before while I was prepping, and this was live. And then I said, what does Sudha Jamthe teach? And she said, she's a teacher and thought leader in the field of IoT, digital transformation and leadership, and it starts listing stuff. It is not listing artificial intelligence. She is known for delivering engaging and thought-provoking presentations, for sharing practical insights and best practices. This is the same ChatGPT when I went back. So the point I wanted to make, guys, I usually make fun of myself in my live demo of AI. My students know this in the dog versus mop examples that I do. So I was asking what is Sudha Live, it didn't know it. I was asking what is Sudha live stream, it doesn't know it. I said, who was Weekly Wednesday, didn't know it. Then I said, okay, who is Sudha Jamthe? And it said what, it knew Sudha Jamthe, right? It fetched information from the internet. What does Sudha Jamthe teach? And it gave me information, right? And now if I say in context, who is Sudha Jamthe, live with you, it says Sudha Jamthe is a technology executive, author, international speaker, known for her work in the field of IoT, digital transformation leadership, blah, 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 right? Sought after speaker. So it's kind of combined the two comments that I did last time. And it's just, so now if I say regenerate the response, it is now saying I'm a technology executive, author, and international speaker. Last time it said, thought leader. So it's a noted reader, author, written several books, blah, 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 right? And so the point I wanted to make is, with all this excitement about ChatGPT and the competition of ChatGPT, everybody is hyped about, is when I asked who is Sudha Jamthe in a separate new chat, it said, no, I don't know that person, right? And it gave me some general, that must be a person, and this is how you find out about a person, right, type of thing. I was having a conversation about Sudha Live where it said, I don't know it also. And then when I asked Sudha Jamthe, it was able to do it. Now in context, it is doing. So the important thing for you to note is not just this is a fun chatbot. Yes, it is writing nice, flowery English, and it's engaging and looks like a human conversation, but it is better for in context conversation. So if it says something and I says, hey, you don't know that person, and or if it makes a mistake and you say that's not right, it will adjust its answer and try to go back to its brain. So it has been trained from entire content of the internet. So this information about my work over the last decades is sitting there in its brain, and it went back and fetched it. And then it was able to generate this content explaining who I am, what my work is, blah, blah, blah. Right? So that part is the key to understanding all this hype. So generative AI is that the AI is generating content. Everybody is excited about it. And I have shown a demo of BERT in class, which came from Google. And if you go into Google search, it will, we do this exercise of filling in the next word. It comes up with the guess of the next word. So the guess of the next best word is what started all this. Actually, the concept of attention started this. I'm not going to go there. But when you experience the chat, it is just guessing the next word, and is making sentences, right? But being able to do this in context is the holy grail, is what this is about. And there's been this whole field of conversational AI trying to help the AI understand the context when we are talking to Alexa or Google Home or voice assistant in any form. It loses context. And for those of you who took my Barcelona technology classes, masters in UX design class, we had this discussion about designing for voice and what is voice UX or AIX for voice. And there is no context, it loses the context. So, and then it just tries to get an answer again, predictive from what it has in its training data. So this also is doing that, but it's giving you full sentences. That's the beauty of it. But that keeps the engagement. But in context is where it is smart. So I want you to remember that as you're kind of reading the hype of it and all that. So the other thing that happened this week is Microsoft announced something called New Bing, which is basically a new revised version of their search engine. I've never been to Bing for like ages, so this prompted me to go check it out. And they have a chat option, which I believe is not the latest chat GPT. That is what they're going to integrate in. Maybe it's a previous version of GPT-2 or something, and was not so anything different, and what happened was, so I signed up, so it's a wait list. I'm hoping that I will be able to play with the new Bing and try it out. So that has created a whole hype around, oh my God, this is affecting search market. And there were articles about it, and tying back to the stock market was kind of, not even kind of, it was absurdly ridiculous. Trying to take what Silicon Valley does and tech industry in general does, where innovation happens in various different places, not just in Silicon Valley these days, is we cannibalize our own work. So we work on something, and then we have people who come up with ideas and say, hey, why don't we do it this other way? And they innovate. And if it is good enough, it gets put out to the customers to see. That's what happened with the BERT, then GPT image, and GPT-2, GPT-3, GPT 3.5 was incorporated into this app interface, ChatGPT, and developers have been playing with this. There's a lot of other models like Flan T5 from Google, and there's a whole bunch of others. And this is all based on technology called transformers. So this tech company called Hugging Face. All this has been in the developer realm. So I don't mean to throw jargons at you. It sounds like a lot of jargons. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is demystifying these jargons so that you can understand what does each of these words I meant, right? What does those models mean? How does these models work? What is unique in this generative AI concept? That what is AI generating content mean different from the previous version of AI, where AI was making prediction and building machine learning models or computer vision models? What is different? So understanding the technology foundation of that. And then I want you to think about the business model. I want you to think about what is your role as product managers. I want you to think about it. So to do that, I've been working on this since I started teaching about foundation models with Stanford HAI, coming up with this foundation model word, which was itself controversial last year, not last year, in 2021. And so I've been writing on that. So I'm ready with my book, which is ready for pre-order on Amazon. Let me show you that. So excited about it. So it's called, so you can go to bit.ly/generative AI book. So generative AI is the big hype. Generative AI book is my newest book. And here is a cool image, which is the cover of the book. I found a beautiful, very creative illustrator cover generator. So I'm very happy about that. With their permission, I'll add their name. So this is the generative AI, a primer for product and business managers. Like my students are always product and business managers, and I talk to you all the time. So with you in mind, I'm going to demystify the what of generative AI, why it matters, what's the excitement, what is opportunity, what is the threat. I'm very agnostic to any brand. I'm critical of everybody who kind of hypes things. So you would get the full landscape, the ecosystem, what's happening in there. And then I'm going to go under the hood and explain in simple English what the different models. I threw a bunch of jargons at you, what happens. And then the critical piece is the business model, right? How is this business model evolving? And there is this whole concept of API economy. APIs have been around with platforms for a while. What's the big deal? How is that pricing model evolving? What does that mean for you? If you are a business person and have data in the enterprise and you're trying to do some kind of AI solutions, and you think you have to do no code AI, or you have to hire somebody, or you have to go to your data scientist and build modeling of the data to solve your business problem. Compared to that, now with this new world of offering, what does that mean for you? What do you have to do? What can it promise for you? What are the boundaries or questions you have to ask about? That is one. And then if you are a product manager, what does that mean building products in this API economy with all these generative AI? What does that mean? A lot of hype is on and focus is on ChatGPT, which is text modality. There's voice modality, there's image modality, there's combination of these called multimodal models. So what does that all mean? So understanding that in English, understanding your role in it as a product person or business person, and then adding a little skepticism to the hype, saying, okay, where's the business model? Where's the money in this? Is this here to stay? This is another way, is where I am going to wear my technology futurist hat. And I'm not going to give you answers. Mostly I'm going to ask you questions. My students know that that's what I'm good at. And you're going to hear, you're going to get a good lowdown, but you're going to be able to think for yourself and find your place. That's my hope. Okay. I'm thankful to everybody who's supported me, hung around with me, and joined my webinars when I was talking about foundation models. My students, who motivated me to create modules for this in my last classes in the last 2 semesters. Thankful to you. So hopefully you'll find this useful. So you can pre-order here on Amazon and in many countries, I believe, but also, and it's a Kindle book, so it'll get delivered to you digitally on April 9th. So that's my hope. And if you're not quite ready for it and you're like, I still want to learn about this, what is this thing called generative AI? I don't want to buy a book. I'm ready to learn this. So I have an option for you. I met one of my students today, and she was telling me, you do so many things and you share in so many channels. And I just realized, especially when you see hype, and posturing, I feel compelled to come in and share this. I debated whether I should write this book on generative AI, because there are a lot of smart technical people working on different models and trying to test the models, the boundaries of the models, and super excited, and they are sharing everywhere. They are there, but they are all like hung up on one model or another, or comparing chat gpt to Jasper, or one or two only, right? And I just thought, okay, we need to demystify this, and I need to do this for my students. So I have the book site called Generative AI Book. It's simple. So generativeaibook.org is the name. So if you use hashtag generative AI book, you will find everything of mine. That's what I'm going towards. Hopefully, you'll do that. And thank you so much for Ken Haran, for believing me. And, always, like, he gives a quote for my books and stuff. So, and is a believer supporting me. So this is what you saw on Amazon. I love this. I love this illustration. I just love it. And I know what I was thinking. I think this illustrator has done a much better job, and I will be sure to share their name first. Okay, so I'm giving you this link for this book called generativeaibook.org, because you could obviously, go pre-order the book, but you can come and subscribe and sign up, and I'm going to send more information, and I'm going to send like lessons, because I've put the book for pre-order, but more things are happening, so I'm constantly researching and looking at topics. So I would like to as I'm writing those, or I'm researching those, I have a lot more content that can make it into a book. The book is in a certain tone, in a certain structure, but as I'm working on this, I have a lot more content that can help demystify multiple concepts. So I'm going to be sending free lessons on this to your inbox. I know many of you have subscribed to my newsletter. If you get your newsletter, you're going to get more resources and links. You're not going to get full narratives and writing specifically on generative AI. So if that's of interest, subscribe here at generativeaibook.org, and I'm going to send you those lessons. Rest of it, I'm just telling you about the book itself and the pre-order of the book. That's what this site is about. Okay, so we talked to ChatGPT, and it didn't know me, and then it knew me in context. So, the message is that it is all about context. And this week, when Google announced Bard as their competition to ChatGPT, there was like a lot of excitement about, okay, the search engine wars are heating up, right? And then somebody picked on something that was in the ad that was given by Google, showing what Bard was saying, and then somebody was saying, oh, this is not factually right. So I want you to know the next lesson, other than ChatGPT or the chat, generative AI chat, is about being in context. The other lesson is, all NLP has a concept called hallucination, which means it will tell you something that looks like perfect English. It will be wrapped up in nice context, so you feel like you're listening. It's almost like fake news. And you will hear the whole thing, but it is factually incorrect. So the most common example that technologists give for this is a chatbot who's hallucinating might say the moon is made of cheese. You know that moon is not made of cheese. So that's a no-brainer. But if you didn't know a topic and it says very confidently, that's what AI would do. AI is always predicting. AI will fail many times, and AI will fail with confidence. We've done this as a lesson in my class many, many times. But when you're engaging, there's a lot of psychology that goes into it, and you tend to listen to it. We want to believe it, and it's when it's talking in such flowery language, it's very hard to decipher whether it is right or wrong. So there's a whole impact on education, because students are submitting questions to ChatGPT and getting their answers for their tests, code snippets. They're getting articles written for their submissions and all that. So universities are figuring out, there are a couple of universities who have banned this. In Barcelona Tech, I remember the day before my class for Masters in UX Design, we got the official notice saying Barcelona Technology School is all about innovation and digital transformation. So they're embracing this new tech, and they're not going to ban it. So if students are using ChatGPT, that's okay, but they want them to play with new technologies and think about this. ethically, and my job was to teach them AI ethics. And funny enough, during my class, I had a student who had access to ChatGPT and who would actually enter comments on ChatGPT and get me answers from there, and was keeping the chat in the Zoom session of my class very engaging. So I think it's a strategic inflection point that is impacting all kinds of writing, teaching, and engaging with the with internet and digital media in a very different way. But it is calling for you to think about this. Is this another hype? Is it just going to get some investments and somebody is going to get valuations and go away? Or is it going to be a big shift? And is it going to really make money? Is it going to have a business model shift? I want you to think about it. I want you to really think about it. Anytime you see any of these articles, think about this. What is it changing really in how the business operates? Okay, so I want to share a very interesting picture I saw. Let me find that. Yes, it's here. So talking of VCs, investors, right? So this is from women in VC in Silicon Valley. This is about 300 female venture capitalists who got together, and this is an industry very predominantly dominated by men. So there are 300 female venture capitalists who got together to figure out the latest, greatest of investments and the world of innovation. So it was very refreshing to see that, because we need diversity of thinking and perspective, and these are women who are brilliant in their work as much as their counterparts of all genders. But we'll see what they come up with or where they invest. So we'll see. Okay, so next I'm going to switch to jobs. There's been plenty of layoffs, unfortunately, but in spite of that, there has been a lot of jobs. So I'm going to be sharing all these jobs and the links that I'm sharing here in my newsletter. It's bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. Let me show that first so that you don't miss out on that. Bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. So this, sorry, I was not sharing my screen. Thank you for that. So it is bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter, my last name and newsletter. And you can see all the past archives. And so when I publish this on Sunday, that will be at the top here. If you're not subscribed, you can click through and watch this and read this, or you can join the mailing list and get this sent to your mailbox. So this is where I'm going to be sharing all the links of the jobs and the interesting things that I'm sharing here. So these are jobs that got posted after the big layoffs from the respective companies. So there's a group product manager, app advertising from Snap. There's director strategy and new business development from Walmart. There is a project leader for climate and sustainability from Boston Computing Group, BCG. Again, there's more product management. This seems like a little bit more leadership level roles for mobile platforms. Let me see. Okay. I don't know the company Storm3, but they have a chief AI officer, which I thought was interesting. And then Google has another head of AI and emerging tech policy, government affairs. So that's a bunch of those policy government connection roles. I've shared them in the AI ethics jobs list before. So this is the bunch, right? So there's a bunch of these. And then there is a director, open innovation and business development for technology assessment. So for those of you who have taken my class, I've always shown that when you learn about AI, it's you come in and saying, I want to be a product manager, or, I'm a business development manager. Does AI have a role for me? Think of the different kind of roles. So even if you're not actively looking for a job, if you're in the AI space, aspiring to go do something more than what you're already doing now, I would recommend look at these jobs, look at the description of jobs and see, hey, they're asking for this, they're asking for that. Is this something I can do? Or maybe you can take that and go do that in your current job. Is that something that you can augment as an experience in your existing job? So think about that. And then of course, I would recommend you apply for the jobs and, have a conversation. There's nothing wrong in that, I would say. Um, there is another one. I think Hillary Hartley had shared this. This is about a good book. I actually have a Pinterest of women written famous books. And so this is one called The Service Organization, and there's a lot of rave reviews about this. And this is from Kate Darling. So comes highly recommended. I have not read it, but I respect Hillary's recommendation here. So we saw some jobs, we saw some books, we talked to ChatGPT. Let me see what else I have. I have a bunch of events. What do you want to see next? There's an interesting news I have. I work with Herman Leon in Masters in UX design. He's the head of the department for UX design in Barcelona Tech. And he is an entrepreneur with a metaverse AR kind of startup called Gestus. And his team had an exit, and now they are part of the Preact family of, so congratulations. So they make near field LiDAR. So that's what this company Preact Technologies does. And specifically, I believe Gestus is about gesture recognition. So they found that useful to be part of the whole near field LiDAR product. So we'll see what amazing things comes out of this this new acquisition. So congratulations, Herman and team. So it's very joyful for me. In fact, one of the things I do in the newsletter is I share a congratulations section, and I share a lot of different people who inspire me through the week. In fact, since I'm doing this on a monthly basis, there's a lot of people, so I'm not able to do justice to that. But I will have that in the newsletter for sure. So don't miss out on that. Okay, so one thing I want to cover next is I showed you a book. I showed you the jobs. There's another bill I wanted to find. Where is that? Okay, so this one was shared by Martin Anderson, and there is this digitally altered body images bill that is in the UK Parliament. And Martin had shared that, saying, okay, where is it going to go? Looks like this is still in, it's a bill. How, like all democracies, the bill is not going to just come in and just be become law immediately. So it'll go through a bunch of process and approvals and discussions and stuff. But what is interesting about this bill is it is about generative AI. It would cover deep fake images and technologically altered human appearances. So it's like generative AI of image as the modality, or video as the modality, I believe. So obviously, there is a bill on that. So what is the policy on that, and what is the ethics of that is very fascinating. So I'm glad to see there's a bill. So this is something that we should be tracking closely. So I'll share a link for this, and then we'll see where it goes. That would be an interesting thing for us to watch. Okay. What else do I have? I want to go to a bunch of events as my last thing, but I don't want to miss out on anything else. And okay, there is also a couple things. Let me show you this one. Lynn Parker shared this. So the National AI Research Task Force has released their final report. This is from the US White House. So it's called National AI Research Resource Task Force. And they have a final report providing plans to build out the nation's computational and data infrastructure for AI R&D. This has been talked about for a long time, so this would be an interesting report. Again, I will make sure that I link to the newsletter, and thank you, Lynn Parker, for sharing that. So what else have I got? It was very interesting when I started thinking about this on a monthly cadence. I found there was so much stuff. It was like so hard for me to sift through it. And I guess that's why you come and watch my videos, because I'm kind of doing that hard work for you. Okay, so there's another interesting thing. This Women in AI is a force. They are this nonprofit that they are global, but they have chapters for North America, for Europe, for Asia Pacific. They're everywhere. And this Women in AI Myanmar has partnered with this UXMM organization, and they're bringing new opportunities for technology communication. They're going to provide fresh content related to technology, create opportunities for technology sharing. Of course, they are going to do events because they're very big on events. So I think they have some plans related to International Women's Day. So as I find more, I will share that. But this partnership is a great, good direction. So I wanted to share that. Especially those of you who are watching me from Asia Pac, I would recommend following Women in AI Asia Pac right here on LinkedIn, because you're going to find more regional events, more region specific references to vendors and innovations and jobs and whatnot. So good luck with that. Okay, that was one of my motivation to do this Sudha live at this hour, which is Friday evening for me, because then I get to talk to you where you are from Singapore and Vietnam and other places. And I was telling you about how I'm learning Spanish as part of my Global South in AI project I did with Susanna Raj, and we went to New Rips in December to bring more researchers into language AI to add inclusion and diversity. So learning the Spanish was kind of my motivation to get into this world, and now I've started learning Vietnamese. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not at a stage where I can even say anything, meaningful and confidently, but I'm just in very early stages. So hold me accountable, people. Maybe you'll talk to me in Vietnamese and put me on the spot when you see me, if you know it. But I'm very fascinated about different languages and where they come from and how they've evolved. And there's a, especially when we looked at it as Global South, there are, most of the languages that's out there are 7,000 plus languages, and 85 or so is what is covered by most of the technologies. And then even with ChatGPT, you'll see it supports like 7 different languages, handpicked. And Spanish is in there, but there are variations of Spanish, right? So it's interesting to see if you're in the Global South, what does it mean? You don't want to be dumped with some technology that is coming from the Global North. What does that mean? And you have the power of data that you have that represents your culture, that represents the lived truths, and the entire corpus of data for your languages with you. So there's a lot of effort that's going on in Global South, in African diaspora, in India. This I don't know more about the other efforts in other parts of Asia. So if you're watching this, if you're involved or you're even aware of it, I would appreciate any kind of link or feedback. And if you follow my newsletter, you can reply back to me directly, or you can find me on any of my social channels, because I share these very regularly. And especially if you're watching this on LinkedIn shared, just try add a comment, tag anybody. I'm happy to read more and do more homework. So I love that. So I promised to switch to events as the last thing. So I'm going to show you Divya Dwivedi. She is a advocate or lawyer in the Supreme Court, and she actually shared this event that is on Feb 9th from the World AI Games Festival. She is amazing. She's got this unlimited capacity to learn. So I'm very, very excited. And do you remember Sneha Jadhav, who used to host Weekly Wednesday before Yashashwini came in to do this with us last year? So Sneha Jadhav is back, and she's working with Divya Dwivedi to restart the Weekly Wednesday project. I'm counting on next Wednesday, so I will share that in the newsletter. I'll be sharing it back on LinkedIn also with the specifics of it. But the plan is to have a month-long theme and a series of speakers, and then come back and do our usual Zoom sessions with the speakers, and do some interesting learning. It's not PR-ish, it's not biased towards any one company. It's individuals who know their stuff, their topic, will come and talk and teach us something new. So we're going to revive that back. We've taken a hiatus with the holidays and not resume that back. So look out for information about that. That would be resuming next week. I actually saw I don't have any affiliation to this person. Credit where credit is due. His name is Mohsen Gurbani. So Morrison said, when I don't understand something, I like to kind of demystify this, and he ended up drawing a visual of what is ChatGPT, all the different progression of ChatGPT, and where is it going, and good and bad about it. So one of the things that stuck with me was the advantage that everybody is talking about, but he's also talking about this hallucination. It might hallucination and give incorrect answers at times, and so this seemed like very legit. So maybe you want to follow Mohsen and follow their work to see what he's talking about, what they are talking about. I don't know them at all, so let us see. And then finally, I want to share a set of events that I found personally exciting that I'm going to be putting out in the newsletter. So let me get you a view so I can show these events in an interesting way. Let me see where they are. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I put this in the newsletter already, so it's in like very cryptic mode for you to see. There's a bunch of fellowships that is also open, so I'm going to be sharing that. There's a bunch of call for papers. I believe IGCAI had a call for paper already, but their AI for good deadline is on March 1st. So that is something that you should see. I found this Latinx in AI has a call for computer vision that is open till March 2nd, I believe. So that is something that you should check out. So I'll be sharing. Let me see if I'm able to open that. Oh, I'm able to open the link. So what they are going to do is they are going to be at CVPR, which is a AI conference or computer vision conference in Vancouver, Canada in summer, I believe June 8th. And here Latinx is this social affinity group. And so they are having a workshop, and they're calling for call for paper within this conference, right? This is their call for paper within the CVPR event, has a workshop for a day or two, right? So that is, or 4 days. That is when this is the call for papers. So we did that with Global South in AI for language AI papers, and but we went through a whole double-blind peer review process. They are going to do that, and it's a lot of work. So I want to appreciate the effort that is being put in by this community, because they're calling for papers that is 8 pages. So it's like very rigorous one, but they are very big on. They want to bring diversity of, that is their focus from Latinx, but they are also experts in the CV field. And so they are looking at bringing in mentors and making connections to help people get to make their submissions and do this right. So the mentoring part is very amazing. So I would recommend you look at it, or you talk to people who are in this field, who are getting into computer vision, who need that extra support, and they will appreciate that. I had one more interesting event that I wanted to share with you. Let me see where that is. I know what that is. So this is the 2023 Edge in Tech Symposium. I believe that's in Berkeley, and it's in UC Berkeley College of Engineering on March 2nd. And that's, again, if you are following me as a technology futurist, you're looking at the latest in tech. This is a conference that looks very, very interesting. Again, I have no affiliation with Citrus or any of the other brands, but I'm aware of the organizers of this conference and know about the quality of work they do and the effort they put in. So I absolutely am going to try and make it. And I think it is something that I'm comfortable to recommend, saying it's worth checking out for you. Okay. So I shared about the policy paper from the White House, the digitally altered body image bill publication from UK, the partnership from Women in AI, um, and then the events from Divya Dwivedi, this one, and then Herman's team, Guestus acquisition. So I think I've exhausted my content that I've planned for you today. There's still a lot more reading material I would recommend in the generative AI space if that's exciting and new for you. So I'm going to be adding those as reading material. If you are interested in hands-on testing this out, I would recommend join the waitlist for the new Bing. I had one more waitlist that I joined this week. What is that? Let me go find that out. 1 second. Just a second. Oh, um, so the chat GPT and BART are about the text modality. So if you're interested in computer vision or the image modality, I thought this Imagine 3D. So it's, you've seen DALI, which is all about 2D images, right? And then Imagen from Google said, hey, we are like DALI, but better than DALI, we are creating photo quality images. And so this is again, from Lumai Labs, and I have no affiliation, but I saw this, that they're giving 3D avatars or 3D images that they're going to generate, and and even their alpha, they're waitlisted for it. So I've just signed up for it. So if that's of interest, you can look at it, or I'm going to be looking at it, and I'm going to bring it to my book or to the generative AI book subscription list if you are going to be following me there, or if it's jumping at me, that is amazing, you're going to hear it here next time. So with that, it's 7 o'clock here for me. I need to go off and wrap up my week. So thank you everybody for hanging around with me. And I hope to hear from you as you're watching this on LinkedIn. Add a comment, tag your friend or anybody else who's working in the relevant fields, or tag a friend who will benefit from this. And definitely join me on generativeaibook.org on a mailing list if you are specifically interested in generative AI topic. Otherwise, join my general newsletter, bit.ly Jamthe newsletter, bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter, where I will share all the links, all the opportunities, all the jobs that I said, I'll put it out there. If I know the hiring manager, I will also put that in the bracket in there. With that, I'm going to wrap up. And I hope to hear from you. And I'm going to do this only on a monthly cadence. So I will see you back in March only. So bear with me. And I hope we can continue the conversation in the meantime. And Sneha Jadhav and Devya Dwivedi are going to restart Weekly Wednesday next week. So I hope I'll see some of you there. And if you're already on the mailing list for Weekly Ved, you should hear from them. And you're going to have a bunch of speakers and interesting conversations and learning that's going to happen throughout the week on Wednesdays before we meet again for Sudha Life here. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you, everybody, and stay safe. And I did share, it's so sad, the earthquake happened in Turkey. So I shared on my LinkedIn, I shared a link where you can legitimately donate. So I hope that some of you would be able to do that, but I'm going to share that also in my newsletter. So with that, stay safe, and I will see you next month, or I will see you online next week. And hopefully you'll chat with me on LinkedIn with this, and we can continue our conversation. Stay safe. Have a good one. Bye. So with that, I'm going to stop my stream.